There is a significant way in which early experiences shape adult behavior, and even and especially early experiences for which there is no recall memory. It turns out there are two kinds of memory. There is explicit memory, which is recall. This is when you can call back facts, details, episodes, circumstances, but the structure in the brain, which is called the hippocampus, which encodes recall memory, doesn't even begin to develop fully until a year and a half. And it is not fully developed until much later, which is why hardly anybody has any recall memory prior to 18 months. But there is another kind of memory, which is called implicit memory, which is in fact an emotional memory, where the emotional impact and the interpretation the child makes of those emotional experiences are ingrained in the brain, in the form of nerve circuits ready to fire without specific recall. So to give you a clear example, people who are adopted have a lifelong sense of rejection very often. They can't recall the adoption, they can't recall the separation of the birth mother, because there's nothing there to recall with. But the emotional memory of separation and rejection is deeply embedded in their brains. Hence, they are much more likely to experience a sense of rejection and a great emotional upset when they perceive themselves as being rejected by other people. That's not unique to people who are adopted, but it is particularly strong in them because of this function of implicit memory. People who are addicted, given all the research literature, and certainly in my experience, the hardcore addicts, virtually were all significantly abused as children or suffered severe emotional loss. Their emotional or implicit memories are those of a world that's not safe and not helpful, caregivers who are not to be trusted, and relationships that are not safe enough to open up to vulnerably, and hence their responses tend to be to keep to themselves, separate from really intimate relationships, not to trust caregivers, doctors, and other people who are trying to help them, and generally see the world as an unsafe place. And that is strictly a function of implicit memory, which sometimes has to do with incidents they don't even recall.